Welcome back to my channel, and today I have the absolute pleasure of speaking with Yasmina Rossi, who is 62 years young, is a photographer, an actress and a model. And for me, Yasmina, you exude grace and authenticity just to a T. You're a pioneer of timeless beauty, and I want to just ask some questions today so I can share what I've discovered in you, and millions of others I know, but I can share on my channel just what an inspiration you are.
So nice to see you.
So nice to see you. Thank you so much for giving up your time. That's very lovely of you. So lovely of you. I'm so inspired by you, as many are. So it's so lovely to chat. Just very excited.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was just talk with you about, obviously, your amazing message that you send to the world. I look at your Instagram a lot and follow you, and I just am so inspired by your very silent but powerful message that comes across.
I really don't realize that. I just did things because I like to do them, and just I express. It's not. I never did that with a purpose of moving people. And I see that you cannot imagine the number of messages I receive of people thanking me just for doing what I do. And, my little and live camera on Instagram that are like nothing special. And people love that. I think they love that because it's real, you know.
That's what they do love. And we don't get enough of that. So it's just, and to think you do that on your phone is incredible because you take amazing photos. And like I say, they speak volumes. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, but what represents beauty for you?
Now, thanks. First, I would love to thank you because I feel really honored, and I'm discovering all the time that people are like interested about simply being, you know. I think we got lost about that, and this is about beauty. Beauty is about that. It's about getting attention to all the little things of daily life.
Yes.
And it can be cooking, even cleaning the house. If you do it by yourself, it's like a fulfillment. And it makes you feeling good, and this exudes beauty. It's just doing this simple task. It's there is nothing.
You bring beauty to it by being present, and
by being present, being present, and with gratitude to be able to make it. Because I was speaking with my friend this morning, and she's also in healing and with public, what I'm not doing, but. She is on Reiki and that, and we were speaking about the simple wonder that is a human body, and I think people are not really aware about the beauty that it is, how this, by what miracle this is functioning. And when you are amazed about this, me, I'm amazed since kid. I've always been fascinated.
Something within you,
how this is working, how I can have these hands and this body and this flesh the skin that is so thin and fragile but so strong to keep everything inside my shape. It's about that. Beauty is about enthusiasm. And enthusiasm means to be with God energy, you know. And I'm not talking about religion at all.
No, I know it's not. I know it's a connection
force,
of
energy of the life force.
Our divinity.
It's fascinating. So we were speaking, and I said yesterday I was eating there on the floor, and I was seeing my foot, and I was like, what a wonder! My little toe, they're so tiny. And there are these veins and these nerves, and everything is working. How this is possible? So this is the thing. To exude beauty, you have to be enthusiastic.
And like you say, grateful.
Because beauty is the expression of the divine, direct expression of the divine. But it's what we can bring from that divine dimension that is subtle and invisible. And it's what we can bring as human. It's to create with what we have around us. What is there? Me, I create with my body because I have this amazing body at my disposal.
Yes.
And I have it everywhere with me.
And
we
get
it's fantastic.
To experience that as human beings. So we get, which is beautiful, so beautiful. Oh,
many years ago, when I started to do my self-portrait, maybe 15 years ago, because I was fed up about my model portfolio pictures to retouch and not me. Yeah. So I wanted to have pictures who looks like me. So I started to do this self-portrait. I think even 16 years ago, I was in New York there with Ford Model Agency. And I did these pictures and I was happy because it was me,
Yeah, your authenticity.
At the beginning, when I posted them on Facebook, I had critique. People were criticizing me, telling me I was narcissistic.
Really?
Yeah. And I said nothing, I was not hurt because I said, it's because you maybe want to do, but you don't. And you project on me your
what
shadow.
You're feeling,
Because I know the phenomenon of projection, so... Okay. And now everybody, even these people, are doing selfies.
Yes.
But it's not what I do. I still do self-portraits,
Yeah.
It's not a selfie. It's rare that I do like that. It's really like a random picture. I put my phone somewhere, or I have my camera on tripod, and I never know really what I'm going to get. Yeah. I'm guessing, know?
Yeah.
And it's a fun part.
Yes.
It's like when you discover something you don't know, like when we had, the negative film, we had to wait from the lab to have the contact sheet to be able to see. And this is a little bit the same thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's the same process when I cook.
Yes.
I do my shopping food the Sunday at the farmer's market, but I have no preconceived idea about what I'm going to make with it. I have my basics. And on the moment something comes, I just say, oh, I got that. Oh, I'm going to put this in that. It's improvisation.
Yeah, you create it.
And and it's great because it's like something inside, like a thread, that is unfolding, and you just follow it. Oh, and that, oh, and that, oh, and that.
And what a beautiful way to live life. What a beautiful way.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you first picked up a camera at around the age of 11 and had no money for film, by what I read, and you clicked away at life through the lens anyway.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated to know, what did you learn about people and life through just clicking away through that lens? What did you learn?
It's really interesting because I was clicking mostly landscape. I was in nature. But when I had my family members in front of the camera, even if it was void, I was seeing their fear and their uncomfort, uncomfortable in front of the lens.
Yes.
And I will never imagine at that time that I will be in front of the lens and I will be also at that place of uncomfort,
Yeah.
And every time when I started, because I started modeling as fit model, not print.
That was right. Yes.
Not ad.
Yeah.
So this came in my 40s.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have some pictures, and friend photographers did some pictures of me, but they were not print ad or jobs.
Yeah.
And I was feeling how I was not comfortable in front of the lens.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it, but I was uncomfortable.
But it was.
Yeah. And I was thinking of these people I wanted to catch and how they could feel. And I said, oh my goodness, poor them. I was so mean with them to oblige them to be in front of my camera,
Yeah. But very interesting that so young that you enjoyed.
Yeah, I've been, I think I know now because I was wondering for years. And I know now that the sensitivity about the visual aspect, the visual creativity came when I was very, very little.
Yeah.
And it came exactly between 2 and 4.
Oh, my goodness.
And even before.
Wow.
Even before, because I realized that what I do, I make my clothes and I love fabric. And I still love, like, when I was 1 year old and less, my mother put me on the floor with piece of fabrics. And it was my toys. And she told me, you were speaking to them, you were petting them, you were putting them by color and putting them on your face. And I still do the same,
Isn't that amazing?
And this is also tactile, but it's also visual. Yes. But after, from 2 to 4, when I started to speak, I was with my grandparents in Corsica.
Yeah.
And we had no running water. and no electricity at that time.
Yeah.
So everything was around getting water.
Yes.
Going at the spring, and this was magic because it was this huge fig tree, and the spring were coming from a rock underneath, and through the leaves the sun was going on the water, running in the pot, in the jar, and I was fascinated because it was like sparkling like that. And I think it's come from that time.
You said that you were inspired by water.
In the river where you have, the transparency of the water with the turtles and the fish and the light coming through the leaves. And I think it came from that time. Because it was beautiful and it was not easy, but who knows that it was not easy. It was a way to be, you know.
How amazing that you saw the beauty in it, that you looked beyond any struggle and saw the beauty. Yeah, because for me it was normal, it was not something difficult, and it was enjoyable. It was beauty all around, and the sounds, and it's for that. And it's simple, it was just right there. Yes.
I had this woman some days ago who sent me a message and said, how do you do to stay connected? Young woman in her 40s.
Yes, that was one of my questions today for you. What do you do to stay connected, especially in times of challenge?
I say it's simple. I connect with nature. I say, but I live in a city, in Dubai. There is no nature. I say, it's not true. I've been in Dubai.
Yes.
I've been living in New York. I've been living in Paris. Everywhere I can find nature. I just look at the sky. Or I take a fruit, and a fruit in my hand is nature. And I'm amazed how these things has been created. And I connect with that, And it's in these small things. It's there all around all the time. You have a glass of water.
It's there. Like you said earlier, your hands, your body, it's there.
It's organic. We are organic beings, And it's there when you are really... I love my body. I was saying, my friend, it's the best body I could have.
Yes. What a beautiful way to feel. Yes, and what a beautiful way to feel. And how would your body respond to that with such positive vibes?
Because I love it. Because I learned, when I was young, very young, I didn't like my body.
Okay.
And also, I had kids very young. I had kids at 20. I was mother of 2.
Yes.
I took a lot of weight. I put a lot of weight on. And from 55 kilo, I've been to 72, 73. So it was a lot. And it was hard to lose them. So at 20, I was not at all like I am now. I didn't like my body. I was not feeling good. For me, my life was finished, you know. And I had nobody to help me. I was in Paris alone with my kids and my husband after I divorced when they were like beginning of teen, like in their 10, So I was mother of 2 single when I started to work in my late 20s,
What made you change your life around? What made you then feel you had the choice to change your life around?
Yes, I made a choice. I made a choice to face uncertainty because I divorced. I was just starting modeling. It was nothing. I was just making one job like that, 2 jobs a year. And
so it was.
I trusted the universe because it's that thing. It's that thing from the childhood to be trained to see that in simple things. For example, I was scratching myself. It was repairing. So everything is okay. It's about that. And I was wondering how this is working. I cut myself in the bushes and it's 2 days and it's cured. So for me, this life process always been there, and I had the kind of thing that inside that it will be okay, always okay. And I always saw that in the difficult time. I learned very, very early, in fact, to look for the hidden gift in difficult situations. And I had some difficult situations.
Because there always is that hidden gift, isn't there?
And also what I learned from that is that more you resist to the situation, more it's difficult. So the only thing to do is to jump with that. It's to go with the flow.
Like you say, the uncertainty that you face.
Because when you put resistance, in fact, you stop a movement. And everything is impermanent. Everything is in movement. When you stuck something, things cannot go on their own flow. And it's the same for health.
You
If you say,
limit yourself.
I have the flu, and no, I don't want the flu, this stupid flu. No. I have the flu, great. 3 days to be with my body and enjoy it, and and give me this time
and allow it to pass without blocking it and creating more limitations by it. But like you say, seeing the beauty in everything. So because it soon will pass. Like you say, nothing's permanent. So, and that uncertainty, I understand. I myself have just sort of think, okay, I've had to throw myself out into that place of uncertainty, but just go with it. And I hear what you're saying, because then the flow begins.
Yeah. Being in a childhood like that, because we had running water, electricity, I was 10. So my grandparents had a small restaurant, cabanas on the beach. So I grew in nature, and I grew also participating to the daily task. This make you able to be anywhere.
Yes.
In any situation.
Adaptable. Yeah.
Everything is okay. There is no problem, because you are used to use your hand and your brain, your mind to resolve little things.
Yeah.
My grandfather was making my little sandalwoods, and I had these little sandals that I love, and it was his hands. He made what we could not buy. We have to make it,
Yeah.
And it's simple.
Yes.
So for me, okay, no problem. Oh, there is this. Okay, I'm going to make it,
So you naturally look to a way to solve something.
And it's that.
Yeah.
What we give to kids.
Yeah.
What we give to children.
The gift to
play with.
Yeah.
And even the technology is great. I'm really happy we live in this era.
Yes.
But what you give there, it's going to stimulate something. You're going to make them able to create something.
Yes.
And now we are on a verge of a big change in humanity.
Yeah,
and it started like 30 years ago with this internet thing. And I just see the kids. I saw my nephew some years ago, 2 years old. He knew where to go to buy his games online.
Yeah.
And me, I was like,
Yes.
So it's up what games they play with, everything, but it's not that.
And creating being able to create that resilience in them, and the understanding that they have what it takes, rather than somebody else solve it for them or create their own limitations.
And this is also where also education is very important. It's for that these schools like Montessori and all that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like I've not been in these schools, but in a way it was what I lived.
Yes.
Yeah. Knowing to grow vegetables, knowing how to cook, knowing how to sew, knowing how to paint, because we were making, also some painting things, and they were turning in games, so it's all about that. And,
so rather than you fearing survival, you know that you have the ability to. Yeah. Because so many people constantly who I speak with, it's the fear of survival. They're constantly in fear that they aren't enough, that they don't have enough. And yet it's our understanding of what we're capable of. We are so capable. Like you say, there's a solution to everything. You just have to see it.
I've been in countries, very poor countries. Like some years ago, I was in Yemen at the beginning of the war, and I was in Socotra in this island. I saw kids, they have nothing. Nothing. No. But they know how to play with the tiny thing they found.
Yeah.
I saw them making cars. And things with sole of old shoes, and kind of,
improvising,
and they make it, and they're happy with that, and they have nothing. And it's not a question of possession.
No,
it's a question of how can you enjoy what you have here at your disposal to create something with.
Yes,
and it's so fulfilling, you know.
It's the mind, it's the heart, it's the drive and inspiration within the self, isn't it? Yeah.
And I remember these kids were playing, and they were running with me, because when you arrived there, I was the only tourist on the island. So,
it would have been
they come, and you are surrounded by kids, and they want all to have pictures with you. And they were playing with a circle of metal.
Yeah.
And they were making so many things with just an old wheel of bicycle. It was like... And I have all these pictures of them with that. And they were so funny, because they know how to make themselves, occupy themselves.
Yes.
They are not bored.
No, because they have that true happiness.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's so important for us to be more aware and more conscious in our lives and know what we desire from our time here. It's just, and you made those choices. You stepped outside and made those choices too, like you say. Take a chance.
But you are lucky. I say, it's not a question of luck. I took risk.
Yes, you did.
I don't have certainty, financial security.
Yeah.
I don't have possessions.
No.
But I don't know when I'm going to work next. My last job was some months ago. I don't know when. I'm not scared. I deal with that since more than 30 years. Everything always been okay.
Yeah.
And it's just that I realized that I got the jobs I have to have to meet the people I have to meet, the experience I have to have.
Yeah.
And I did an audition some days ago. I'm not in callback. It's because it's not for me. No, that's
and
it.
You believe in that. So,
we cannot be, and this job-based model really train us to let go,
Yeah.
Because we never know.
Yeah.
We never know.
Yeah.
And on a phone call, I can be at the other side of the world tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
And this is the beauty of that. It's what I like.
Yes. It's how you enjoy life.
The best example is that I had a friend, one of my best friends, my age.
Yes.
She was a businesswoman saving money for her old days.
Yes.
And she was wondering, looking at me like if I was an extraterrestrial and telling me, how are you going to do when we're going to get old? And we will have no beauty anymore. And how are you going to make money? I say, I don't think about that.
No.
And she made all this money on the side, and she passed away at 59.
Yeah.
She was so scared to age without money.
Yeah. And the fear itself is what ends up just limiting you. And then, you're not going to enjoy it, are you? Yeah.
She was free. She could work from anywhere on the world with her computer. And she said, you live in Malibu. It's a dream. She stayed 3 weeks with me. I say, come.
You can do this.
Rent a place. You can do it.
Yeah.
She said, no, I'm Parisian. I said, I don't want to live in Paris anymore. No. I enjoy this every single day. To see the ocean, to be on the beach.
Yeah.
Is what I like.
Yeah.
She made a choice. It was what she liked,
Yeah.
But she could afford it. It was not like some people
exactly that.
who dream about that and they can't.
Yeah.
She could. She never did it.
No, because of her own fear and limitation. Yeah.
Exactly. But this is also showing that we have to have the experience that we experience.
Yes.
Yes. And people can say, it's easy to say when you are not really sick and all that. I had also my time, very hard time in my body of cancer and all this kind of thing. And I learned from it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I saw that something was not in myself, with myself on my right, on something that was right for me.
Yeah.
I was not on alignment with my higher self.
Yeah.
And
rather than feel like
it was not right.
Yeah. So rather than feel like the victim, you again looked for the good in it.
Yeah. So and I could feel immediately when it started. And my doctor was amazed. He said, how can you know? I said, I felt something was wrong. And I knew to what it was related in my relationship.
Yeah.
And something was messed up. Something was wrong. I was not in accord with what was right for me, just for me.
Yeah.
I was making things for someone else, and it was not right.
Like you say, you weren't in alignment. You were out of alignment. So your body, mind, soul was not working together.
Yeah.
And when you made the differences, so obviously it was your mind, your heart, you connected. What did you do there? It was the different way in which you were thinking, feeling, what you were eating. How did you...
I knew.
Yeah.
I knew, like a lot of situation I've been, when I took the decision, I knew if it was right or not.
Yes.
And even if it was not, I did it because I felt I had to do it, and I did it, and I had the experience that I had to have.
Yes.
It happened many times in my life.
Yeah. So you had the acceptance.
But it's also because sometimes we do things we know it's not really good, but we do it because we have to experiment. We are here for that. We are here to experiment human life, and it's what we do.
Yeah. You know? It's how we learn and find out and get to know ourselves, our capabilities, and So you eat, by what I see, when I watch your Insta stories, and you eat very well, you nourish your body very well. So
I think so.
Yeah, you're putting a lot of good nutrient in your body. How do you like to exercise? You love yoga. I watch you doing yoga very beautifully. How long have you done yoga for? And
I started in my late 20s when I started modeling, actually. And I started by a male model, a friend. It was not my boyfriend. It was my friend. We were doing a lot of shows together because I was not print model, but I was also doing some runaway shows, you know. And he was my partner, and I loved him. And he said, "Oh, I started this yoga class. You should come." So it's by a man I've been to yoga, I started doing Bikram yoga 32 years ago.
Yeah.
And it has been a revelation. I was a runner at that time as well. I was running every day.
Yeah.
And I was also a windsurfer like 3 months a year in Corsica. I was doing funboarding.
Yeah.
So it was a time I was very active in my body, and this helps also to get in shape. I was a 38 size.
Okay.
I'm still. Yes. You know, but different shape now. Yes. My shape is nicer now than at that time. You know?
It's lovely to hear you say that you feel better now than when you were in your 20s.
That to me is so
I was
inspiring. Looking at pictures 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But I did in swimsuit. I'm much better now.
I love it.
Much better.
I love it.
And in between, you know what I changed?
Yeah.
I changed a little bit my diet.
Yes.
I stopped to have breakfast first thing in the morning with fruits and, you know, oatmeal and nuts and things like that.
Yeah.
And I gained more on salty food.
Yeah.
And I did this test of trying to avoid sugar for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I felt so much better.
Yeah. It makes
I was wondering if I could do it because I was eating mostly fruits. I was fructivore.
Yes.
You know, people speak about vegan. Me, I was on fruit all the time.
The fruitarian.
So I was wondering how am I going to make this. So I did it.
Yeah.
And I was feeling so good.
Yeah.
But I continue, and this was like 3 years ago.
Yes.
And so from 3 meals, I went to 2 a day.
Yeah.
And my breakfast now, it's around 10:30, 11.
That's great.
That time, you know, between 10:30, 11:30. It's my main meal.
So it's allowing your body to have a rest instead of piling in the food. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I have a tea early morning, or I have my hot water with lemon. This morning I did hot water with grapefruit and turmeric, fresh turmeric that I have from the market.
Yes.
So I had that before going to visit my friend. And this, you know, bring me to this time more or less. And I start to cook usually at that time, 10:30. And I have my breakfast brunch.
Yes.
And after I have fruits beginning of afternoon.
Yeah.
And after I have an early dinner.
Yeah.
And it's more or less the same kind of food. It can be, you know, fish and soup or, you know, any kind of various food.